Week 4, we made it. Hello lovelies, my name is Zoe, my brain's dragon, and we've made it to week 4, which I think is a pretty big bonus considering week 3 was so much fun. Yeah. And usually this is the week where all of the enthusiasm comes back because it's the home stretch. We're getting there. It's just the last really fun bits. And usually you've had a lot of time to think of great scenes that you really want to get down, and it's so much fun. And I am so exhausted that I just don't have the enthusiasm in me this year. And this is fine. So, the plan for week 4 is actually pretty consistent with week 3 because I found that worked really well to get me back on track when I was feeling pretty tired. So we're going to do morning sprints, or really whatever time I can actually sit down and do during the day sprints. And I'm not going to give myself the option of just seeing how I feel about it. I'm going to sit down, open my document, see if there's a sprint running in a group that I happen to click on first. And if there's not, I will run one, and we'll run it at whatever time it is that I feel like, and we'll just go for it. We're going to aim for the same 6-ish sprints in theory. But remember how I said that there was a flare coming? Yeah, it's basically here and there's nothing much I can do to stop it at this point. We have used all of the tools so far in the toolbox, and that's completely fine. What we need to do now is manage. So it will be great if I can get the 6 sprints in a day, but if I get my nano words, so 1,667, I'm going to count it as a win. We basically have a week to get this done, and there's only, realistically speaking, theoretically, only about 10,000 words to go. So I should be okay. And if I get to 50,000 words and I haven't quite finished the story by the end of the week, you know what? That's also fine. The goal was to write 50,000 words in a month, and I'll have done that. So I don't need to push myself to the point where I am utterly exhausted to try and get there. Thankfully, with the pacing method that we've been doing so far, I've been able to basically keep on top of where I needed to be. And yes, I've had some big days, and yes, they have taken it out of me. But what they haven't done is they haven't set me up so that week 4 is kind of that point where you will actually legitimately have to consider whether or not you're sacrificing your health and well-being to get the goal achieved. And that is wonderful. So this week we're going to be sticking with sprints, the Catherine Devaney method, but only at a certain point. I will make sure that I have got a cup of tea and then I've eaten something before I actually start my sprints, because if I don't do that, I don't have any energy. Do you know how hard it is to think of nouns when your brain is like, I am not having enough tea. There has been no snacks. I don't know what the word is that you want. Can I write thingy for every single word in this sentence and have it make sense? Okay. That does not help editing us. Just so we're really clear, editing us cannot deal with thingy as every word in a sentence. I know, I've tried. So, tea, food, and then we'll do our first sprint. And then after that, we'll just depend on what we need. So some days I might decide that I'm totally comfortable and we can just roll with it. Other days I may end up having to put on extra layers, or maybe do my hair or some makeup just to make myself feel like maybe I don't look like death warmed up, because a lot of the time when I have a flare, I look like death warmed up. It's fine. No one can see me when I'm rocking around in my giant blanket dress and just kind of being cool. I'm fine with it. And it's just to get us through to the end of the month. And I know it's not necessarily the greatest plan to just try and get there, but as I said, we've built in plenty of time, we're about on pace, and we can slow down without it causing any problems. And that is a big help when it comes to trying to survive the last week of Nano. The other thing that I'm going to do is, taking from what we learned last week, I am not going to worry about doing the interim scenes that set up or pay off from particular set points if I don't need to. Largely because I am tired and there are a lot of scenes that are going to take far more words than I would like. I'm not going to do scene sketches. I don't have the brain power to try and teach myself how to do that at the moment. Strangely enough, there's a flare coming and I haven't got enough tea to cope with that. And I have a lot of tea, not gonna lie, so much tea, still not enough to sort of deal with that art of shenanigans. So we're just going to rely on our previous skill set of have a vague idea of the scene, make it vaguely work, deal with it in post. Editing Zoe is really going to enjoy this, and this is why I don't edit. Strangely enough. So that's the plan. Get through the last 10,000 words, see if we end up over. If I feel like I still want to keep writing once I've got to 50,000 words in the vague end of the novel, then I shall, because I can. And I know from my scene outline that we did during Preptober where the scenes are that need to go in, which means I can chuck them in and I can vaguely figure out how big the novel is probably going to be. I'm going to guess that this is probably going to be an 80,000 word novel when I go back in and fix it. But that, again, future Zoe's problem, not my concern right now. We're just getting to 50,000 words. I'm not setting myself anything outrageous because I'm going to need the time to recover. It's just, it is what it is. Sometimes the brain dragon is really helpful. Sometimes the brain dragon just actually does need to curl up in a ball and will just make it work. This is where I remind you, lovely one, that you also need to take it easy on yourself. If you are having a period where you are tired and you're still making big demands on yourself, let yourself have rest. There is nothing wrong with it, and if you rest, it'll probably mean you can actually get to where you want to be rather than ending up in a ball somewhere that's not quite the end goal. So, tea, food, sprints, and taking it easy and letting it be okay. That's the plan. I will hopefully be able to let you know how the plan goes, but if I curl up in a ball, it may not look as shiny as this. So we will see. I hope that your week 4 is going well, and if you do find that this is the week where you pick yourself up and then like hurl yourself towards the finish line, that's also fine, because that's actually a really traditional way to finish Nano, in a headlong sprint of mad enthusiasm, a little bit of desperation, and more plot twists than you can throw your characters through. I've got tea to drink, stories to plan, and adventures to be had, and I will see you next time. Bye, lovely.